All right, thank you. I think the sun is coming out ever so slowly. It's coming out. It's going to warm up. So, you kids cold up front? You okay? Yeah. Welcome to Arbor Day, by the way. You think you're going to come back next year? No. So I'd like to welcome Fairview's third grade classes. Thanks for coming. As you can see, a lot of them are wearing their tree name tags that they designed this past week when we came to visit. They look very good. Very nice. So I want you guys in your outside voice to say Happy Arbor Day on 3, okay? 1, 2, 3. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, the rest of you I'd like to welcome here as well. As Mark mentioned, this is the High Plains Arboretum. You got to hear about some of the history out here. We think this is a really great place, and the reason we've been holding Arbor Day out here is to get people excited about the High Plains Arboretum. There's so much unique history out here. I invite you to walk around. We've got 60 trees and plants that are signed. We've got that kiosk up front, so I invite you to come out and learn more about the Arboretum, spread the word about it. It really is a great place. After the ceremony too, I'd like to invite you to hang around. We're going to have free cookies over here. We're going to hand out trees. We've got over 200 trees to hand out. The kids already got their trees, so don't give any to the kids. They can have cookies though. We're going to work these kids after the ceremony. They're going to have to plant trees. So we're going to sugar you up, and then you're going to plant trees for us, okay?
Okay, our Assistant State Forester is Aaron Lovell, and he's going to give you guys a welcome. Aaron oversees cooperative forestry programs, urban and community forestry, forest health, rural forestry assistance, and outreach forestry. Aaron?
Good morning. Welcome. On behalf of Wyoming State Forestry and State Forester Bill Crapser, who had to be in D.C. this week, I'd like to welcome you all to the 130th Arbor Day in Wyoming. It started in 1888 by the Wyoming Territorial Legislature. They said the last Monday of April will be Arbor Day. 146 years ago on Friday, last Friday, Nebraska started Arbor Day. So it's quite a long history. Wyoming has over 10 million acres of trees and forests, and that includes our rural and urban areas. Those trees take a lot of energy and a lot of power to make it through our forest health threats, our fire, and a bunch of other things like drought. So when we plant our trees, not only do we give them the soil that they need, a little bit of water, but a lot of times we also have to give them a social security number so that they'll make it all the way up. With that, I'd like to welcome our elected officials and say thank you all for coming out. But with us today, we have Treasurer Gordon, Superintendent Balo, Secretary Buchanan, Governor Mead, Cheyenne Mayor Orr, as well as some City Council folks. Thank you all for coming out. And with that, Governor Mead will say some words.
Good morning, everybody. This is Superintendent Balo, and she and I welcome all of you kids here. Thank you very much for being here. Well, thank you very much. And I know that after the word cookie, it's hard to listen to anything else. But I have a few things, and so thank you to the Secretary, Treasurer, Superintendent. Thank you all for being here. Mayor, to you and the City Council, thank you. This is always such a great spot for this. And so welcome to Arbor Day. Just a few thoughts. This is the time of year when we get to celebrate not only what we have, but what's to come. And that's part of the process of planting trees. This is a year that excites me because it's springtime and we get to see the green grass coming up. This is the time of year where on Sunday we go out on t-shirts and put our winter coats away, and on Monday we get them out. It's Wyoming springtime. But it's also a time, particularly for you kids, that we celebrate Arbor Day and celebrate the wonderful trees that we have here in Cheyenne across the state of Wyoming. And this year's theme is to be a tree, which has many interpretations and can have different stories. And I just want to share with you one story that I think is magnificent about a tree here in Wyoming. It's an elm tree on our state capitol grounds right here in Cheyenne. And the story about this tree is this. On July 3rd, 1775, George Washington, standing under the shade of an elm in Cambridge, Massachusetts, took command of the Continental Army to begin the American struggle for independence. The Washington elm tree in Cambridge became an important symbol and site. Cuttings, seedlings, and plantings lived on past the tree's natural life. And a descendant of that original elm is at our Wyoming state capitol today. And very soon we're going to have a plaque that goes with that tree on our capitol grounds to remember the significance of it. As you think about trees, not only do they provide beauty and habitat for wildlife, but they create many memories. Across the state of Wyoming, if you haven't seen one, you will someday, where somebody has initialed their names on it and often put a heart there. And we take pictures when we go on camping trips, and we remember trees that we planted as young people like yourselves and watch them grow for the rest of our lives. So trees are not just the beauty and the habitat, in part they are a chronicle of our lives. So it's particularly great to have all you kids here. I welcome all of you here on Arbor Day. Arbor Day, last year we had it out here. It was a magnificent event, but as is mentioned, sometimes it is sunny, sometimes it is not sunny, sometimes it is snowing, but each Arbor Day is special to remember the importance of our trees. In terms of the stories, perhaps they are best told by art and poetry. And I'm helping to present awards this morning, including to poster winner Whitney Hendershot from Lovell Elementary. Whitney's art tells its own wonderful visual story about trees. And I urge each of you on today and as many days you can, think about the value of trees in your lives and how it enriches them. Superintendent Balo and Treasurer Gordon and Secretary, thank you for being here as well today. This is a special and fun event for all of us. So thank you and have a wonderful Arbor Day. Thank you. And now, my official duty is to thank you. Thank you. It takes all of the state electeds to get this done. Governor's proclamation. Whereas the last Monday of April is Arbor Day in Wyoming, and whereas Arbor Day has been observed for 146 years throughout the world and was first celebrated in Wyoming in 1888, and whereas Arbor Day activities are taking place around the state, and this year marks Wyoming's 130th Arbor Day celebration, and whereas the National Tree City USA program is recognizing 41 Wyoming communities for achievements in forest management, and whereas each year thousands of Wyoming citizens participate in Arbor Day activities, working with schools, local governments, and others in supporting the stewardship of trees and forests, and whereas trees enhance the economic vitality of our communities and make our neighborhoods and towns more pleasant places. Now therefore, I, Matthew H. Mead, Governor of the state of Wyoming, do hereby proclaim April 30th, 2018 as Arbor Day in Wyoming and urge all citizens to celebrate the day by planting trees and enjoying the beauties and pleasures they provide. Congratulations. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of Arbor Day. We've heard a little bit about it already. But J. Sterling Morton is the father of Arbor Day. And back in Nebraska, back in the 1800s, he celebrated or organized the first Arbor Day in 1872. And on that day in Nebraska, they planted over 1 million trees across the state. And it was his belief that trees help our communities. They help us, they protect us from the wind, from the environment. They shade our properties, and they do so many other important things for us. And so he encouraged people across his state to plant trees. So moving forward, 10 years later in Wyoming, a gentleman named James Jenkins moved to our state. And he organized a similar movement in Cheyenne. He actually went out to businesses, raised money, organized volunteers, and did a large tree planting in 1882. And we celebrated Arbor Day on that day in Cheyenne. So that was our first Arbor Day in Cheyenne. Then, 6 years later, the territory of Wyoming celebrated its first Arbor Day. So you can see we've got a long history of trees in Wyoming. And as the governor mentioned, there's now 41 Tree City USAs in Wyoming, and they're celebrating Arbor Day today and throughout the month. So Cheyenne actually was the first tree city, but now we've got another 40. So there's been a great history of trees in Cheyenne. And now with that, I would like to introduce the mayor of Cheyenne, Marian Orr. She's going to read the city proclamation.
Well, good morning. Thank you to all the elected here. I have with me today Councilman Pete Laybourne, and we've got Councilman Richard Johnson out there, probably Facebook Living this for us all today. So welcome. This is one of my favorite places in Cheyenne. When I found out about this place, I thought, what a hidden gem we have. And certainly when the weather's better, I encourage you all to come back out. And I can hear the meadowlark in the background. Do you hear that one singing? I love this place. Okay, so I'm going to read to you a proclamation. Here we go. Whereas the city of Cheyenne was the first and is the oldest Tree City USA in the state of Wyoming. And whereas Cheyenne has been recognized as a Tree City USA for 36 consecutive years, beginning in 1982 by the National Arbor Day Foundation, and desires to continue its tree planting ways. And whereas for Cheyenne's Arbor Day 2018, over 20 trees will be planted here at the High Plains Arboretum. And whereas Arbor Day increases the awareness of sustainability through community forestry and how healthy trees in our community improve our environment by reducing our carbon footprint. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air by reducing carbon dioxide, produce life-giving oxygen, provide habitat for the wildlife, and trees are a source of enjoyment and spiritual renewal. And whereas, wherever you live, trees are an important part of our community. The practice of planting new trees, no matter how small, also plants hope and offers a legacy for generations to follow. So now, therefore, I, Marian J. Orr, the mayor of the city of Cheyenne, do hereby proclaim April 30th, 2018 as Cheyenne Arbor Day. And in this proclamation, it talked about keeping our trees healthy. And I want you all, especially you kids, to give our city forestry and state forestry a round of applause, because they are the ones that help keep our city trees healthy. And thanks for all the work you guys do. Really appreciate it.
So, and we'll need to make sure we get the proclamations from you guys before you leave. Tree City USA, as Mayor Orr mentioned, Cheyenne's been a tree city for 36 years. It was the first tree city in Wyoming, and it's the longest standing. They've renewed every single year for those 36 years. And Tree City USA was started as a bicentennial project of our nation in 1976. It's a program that's sponsored by the Arbor Day Foundation, state foresters, and the U.S. Forest Service. And where's Sandy from the U.S. Forest Service is out here somewhere way back there, so thank you for your support. With that, I'm not going to get into all the neat things that are with the award. I think we won't take the flag out today, but I do want to mention that there is a growth award, which goes to a city for going above and beyond the regular requirements of a Tree City USA. And this year, Cheyenne has earned the growth award again. actually for 21 years now, and they ran out of plaques because you get a new sticker every year. So we got a new plaque, and it's missing Cheyenne on here, but we'll certainly make sure that gets done. And I just want to mention that growth award this year went for the city urban forestry division being involved in a special partnership with the Downtown Development Association, and that involved the trees in downtown Cheyenne. A lot of them needed pruning. There were over 25 new ones planted. There were some removed that were in really bad shape, and they also partnered with the private sector, a tree company, to get some of that work done, and they took out the big iron grates that you see around downtown trees. Those are good for a while, but sometimes they start girdling the trees, and we were having some issues with those, so they recycled those, and I think they probably made pretty good recycling money off. I mean, they're pretty heavy. The other thing that the Growth Award is for was a really, really neat program that was started last year. Seems like it was longer, but Rooted in Cheyenne, many of you have heard about it, is a street tree program that not only is getting a lot of new trees planted along our streets in Cheyenne where trees had been declining, old cottonwoods and whatnot, and new trees really weren't being planted. So got to give a lot of credit to Mark Ellison for getting the ball rolling with that and getting grants and whatnot. But the thing that really amazes me is the volunteers. There's a volunteer board that's been outstanding, and the private sector on the tree planting day last year is amazing how many landscape companies and tree companies came out to help with that. And you may want to say a little bit more about Rooted in Cheyenne, but for the extra things you do, Growth Award goes to you guys this year once again, 21 years, and we'll do Cheyenne on that. Where are we at, Mark? Oh. Rooted in Cheyenne.
Yes. Okay, I just want to kind of recap our year with Rooted in Cheyenne. As Mark mentioned, it's a brand new program. It's been going on for about a year is all. Last year when we were here at Arbor Day, we were just announcing the program, and we got our first sponsorship back then. Those of you that were here, you saw us receive that $25,000 from Historic Cheyenne Inc. and got that big check, and that's what really kicked off our program. So this past fall was our first tree planting, and we planted 105 trees across our community. And as Mark mentioned, we used volunteers to do that. A lot of the green industry came out and helped plant. They were our crew leaders. They brought pickups and trailers and planting supplies and helped us plant those trees. And then we had volunteers from across the community come out and plant trees. The city forestry division also assisted as well. So this program, although it gets support from the city, it's completely funded by private and other organizations. And so we're so thankful for private businesses, nonprofits, state forestry, and other organizations for funding this program. And then the bulk of the work gets done by volunteers. So who of you in the crowd volunteered or helped support Rooted in Cheyenne over the past year? So you can see several folks here. So I'd like to thank my volunteer board. Without these folks, we couldn't have got much of anything completed. They're a very dedicated, hard-working crew. And so raise your hand when I call your name, please. Dave Odie, Doug Tees, Jake Mears, Sean Kirkwood, Martha Milligan, Kenneth Burke, Mindy Peep, Laura Wagner, and Jim Deneen. I also wanted to thank our sponsors for 2017. We had 3 very gracious sponsors. Sorry, my nose is running bad here. Historic Cheyenne Incorporated, Wyoming State Forestry Division, and Laramie County Conservation District. So thanks to those sponsors. We've got some new sponsors for 2018, so I'd like to announce those as well. Culver's, Jonah Bank, Platte Valley Bank, Mechanical Systems Incorporated, Meridian Trust Credit Union, Oliver's Hope Sepsis Awareness and Prevention, and Mickman Brothers. So thanks to our new sponsors for 2018. Also wanted to give a special shout out to Richard Johnson. He kind of has taken us under his wing a little bit and helped us to promote Rooted in Cheyenne and also do some fundraising. And through his efforts, we were able to get a partnership with Dad's Cafe downtown, and then also with Accomplice Brewing. They're brewing 3 beers for Rooted, and all the proceeds from those beers are going to Rooted in Cheyenne. And actually tonight we've got an unveiling of a Juniper IPA from 6 to 8. So those of you that want to help support Rooted and celebrate Arbor Day a little later into the evening, come on down. As I said, all the money from that beer goes to Rooted in Cheyenne.
But kids can't go.
Yeah, sorry. They do have root beer there, though.
Okay, we'll go.
All right, and then new to 2018 as well, we had a new sponsor come on board, and that's the Noontime Rotary Group. They have a national mission to do environmental stewardship, and so we partnered with them. And they're funding the planting of 15 trees for lower income residences, so that all citizens of Cheyenne can benefit from this program. So with that, I would like to introduce Brent Lathrop. He's going to say a few words representing Rotary. Come on up, Brent.
Thank you. The Noon Rotary Club represents Rotary International. Rotary International has about 1.2 million members in virtually every country of the world, something like 35,000 clubs. In Cheyenne, we have 3 clubs. But this year, the international president has a focus on tree planting. And the challenge to the clubs is to plant 1.2 million trees around the world. The Cheyenne Rotary Club is going to plant 15, and we've donated $2,400 to get that done. And so you'll see us out helping on that. Let me finish with a story. The governor kind of hinted about family stories. In 1872 was the first Arbor Day in Nebraska by J. Sterling Mortgage Hurd helped organize that. Well, in 1872, my ancestors homesteaded in central Nebraska. And the place they homesteaded in, there was not a tree in sight. They planted over 100 trees that first year. I have no idea where they found those trees. They must have had them shipped in by rail. So in my family now, we've had about 3 or 4 generations of participating in Arbor Day, and it's a tremendous initiative. I think Jay Sterling is known for the statement that other holidays repose in the past, Arbor Day proposes in the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Brent. Okay, I'm almost done here. We're going to do some awards. As I mentioned, volunteers are just critical to this program. Without them, we couldn't get anything done. So I'd like to present an award to the 2017 Rooted in Cheyenne Volunteer of the Year. That is Sean Kirkwood. Sean, raise your hand, please. Okay, why don't you come on down, Sean? And his plaque reads, for your tireless efforts in supporting Rooted in Cheyenne and building a neighborhood tree planting program that will benefit our community for generations to come.
Let's get some photos.
Yep, and if the mayor would help me.
Thank you. Okay, we'll get our picture taken.
All right.
Perfect.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. And I've got one more award to give, and this is to our 2017 Rooted in Cheyenne Sponsor of the Year, and that's going to go to Historic Cheyenne Inc. And Stephanie Lowe is going to accept the award. Alrighty, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. You want mine there? Okay, good.
Okay. So, every year since, I think, 1991, there's been a state Arbor Day poster contest. And it's, for most of those years, it's been co-sponsored by Wyoming State Forestry and Project Learning Tree. And today we have the coordinator of Wyoming Project Learning Tree with us, Jesse Halverson. Jesse came all the way down from Sundance or Beulah, somewhere in that area this morning. So take it away, Jesse.
Oh, go Jesse! Good morning. Thanks for coming out on this springuary day. As Mark said, my name is Jesse Halverson. I'm the coordinator for Wyoming Project Learning Tree. Project Learning Tree is the environmental education program of the Sustainable Forestry Initiative. The program was started over 40 years ago to teach students about forestry and our natural resources. It's used in all 50 states and in some foreign countries, and we hold workshops for early childhood through high school level educators to place our curriculum into their hands. And our hope is that they'll use this curriculum, the fun, hands-on activities, to get their students outdoors or bring the outdoors into the classroom. Every year, Wyoming State Forestry Division, as Mark said, helps us co-sponsor the State Arbor Day Poster Contest. The contest is open to all Wyoming 4th and 5th grade students. We choose a theme based on a Project Learning Tree activity, and this year's theme was to be a tree. Over 450 students participated statewide. Class winners were sent in to be judged at the state level, and we chose a winner and a second place. The second place winner will receive $50, and the first place winner receives $100. So without further ado, I would like to present our 2018 Wyoming State Arbor Day Poster Contest winner, Whitney Hendershot from Lovell, Wyoming.
No fair, I want the $100.
Thanks everyone. It was fun making my poster, and I had an awesome time, and so thank you everyone.
Oh, that sun feels good now. So I'm gonna take my jacket off. We need to plant the official state Arbor Day tree this year, and the city elected officials, state elected officials, you might have to share gold shovels. I've got 5 of them over there. And Mark, or the mayor, mentioned Richard Johnson and Pete Laybourne. I want to tell you guys really appreciate City Council's support of Rooted in Cheyenne and overall the tree program. Appreciate it. So, seedling trees, Serbian spruce, and ponderosa pine will be handed out over here. But the award, let's have Whitney go to the tree planting that's over by those 3 pickups over there, and the elected officials. So with that, thanks everybody. We appreciate you coming to Arbor Day this year.
Get a little bit of dirt. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. There we go.